Anybody else want to give any report? Fire department?
Hey, I got a question.
Yes,
Who do
sir.
I need to talk to about some digital radios so we can communicate with EMS? That is a big issue.
Jamie, do we have any further update? on
I
that?
at least need 2 handhelds or the money to purchase them. Since I fronted the money for the program.
I know we had been talking about having duplicate names on the radio list. I don't know, have we gotten anywhere with that?
That project's in budget, just waiting funding, but I know there was some questions about from the community about some of that.
Did we get
Justification.
an update or?
There's been, I don't think we were asked, that may have fell through on our part. Is there an update that needed on that?
I know Nancy had in the budget committee.
I know it was brought up, but I don't know if there was any request for information from the field.
Well, I know we moved it out of this committee to the budget committee for funding, and then it stalled in budget due to multiple duplicate names.
As far as I know, the reason why it was put on hold was just because we need to get a better feel for what devices the agencies needed and making sure that we're able to maximize the amount of money that we're able to allocate to buy the devices and to be able to get enough devices out there for those agencies to use. So when we got the first report that had all of those devices assigned, it was a little bit more than what we had allocated for. So we just had to take a step back and try to readjust those numbers. So that's where we are right now. And that money is still, in my opinion, still set aside for fire departments to get EMR radios. That is still in the plan. Unfortunately, wheels of government run slowly. And so as quickly as we can get the logistics of that together, the commission has seemed to show support for allocating the money and getting those EMR radios to fire departments.
From the time the project's funded until devices are in the field, right now I'd estimate it's probably between 6 months and a year, but probably closer to a year. But there's also a lot happening in global trade right now, so.
I'm also not asking for 20 radios. I just need one for each vehicle. So surely to God, you've got them laying somewhere.
Jamie, do we have any radio laying somewhere?
Not that I'm aware of. As far as there's devices that are allocated, we pulled some devices out of the ambulances. It's not been processed back to my office yet, but we've also got some needs at 911 that's going to be addressed as well.
So we're basically back on getting the logistics.
We don't have a surplus of 100 laying around or anything like that.
Well, the challenge is we need to get all those out there at once, because if you piecemeal it, Jamie's going to be inundated by fire departments saying, well, they got some, how come we didn't?
Well, they're not running first response and they don't have patients in their community relying on that communication.
I understand.
I'm just expressing that.
So what was your name, sir?
William Kohler, I'm the new chief of Cartersville.
How long has your radio not been working?
Well, I'm not worried about the VHF radios. My main concern is having a communication line with EMS when we're medical providers. The VHF radios don't work. I mean, we've learned to cope with that. My main concern is patient safety and personnel safety when they're dealing with dangerous patients.
So my question,
We can't communicate on the VHF radios that we use with EMS.
how did you communicate before? Just
We didn't.
Okay.
We did not.
The cardiac response program goes through the VHF.
Yeah.
When it goes to first response, it's in the contract, but we went ahead and approved this to get the medical response out, that they have communications on our frequency.
So the radios from
Is there
the,
any funding mechanism for that? I mean, is there any way that it can be funded in the West?
so Jamie, you said there's some radios that have been pulled out of old EMS vehicles.
So the TACAN radios were put into the ambulances. That will alleviate 11 in the field. But we'll also have to figure out if we allocate those back out to fire, how we get a professional install as well. So, and that's something as we expand this, and because we basically took on the radios in the field other than fire right now. That's something that we're going to have to address in my budget. Is I know these departments get a lot of vehicles and stuff donated to them. Is once we get this implemented, if we've got $500,000 worth of equipment out there, if they get a new vehicle done, hey, we obviously need to make sure that if a radio is took out of one, we professionally install it into the other by some means, or if they're responsible for that. But that's something I see long-term that's gonna have to be addressed as well.
So these radios that you said you've not gotten back in yet, can they be used to help Carter Valley?
If however we choose to deploy them in the field, but if we give one place and not another, I'm afraid we'll have a battle on our hands with what some other departments have told me.
I reiterate that I think I'm one of 3 or 4 agencies in the county out of almost 13 running first response, so.
Jason, y'all have any radios?
There was 11 that we took out of the ambulance when the attacking radios got put in.
So they can't use those attacking radios?
Those 11 we could, we need to address if we put them out there. If you want to give one to every department, we can do that. We need to address how to pay for the installs.
Would your department be able to?
I'll pay for the install if I have the equipment. The radios are over $1,000 a piece though, and then I have to turn them to Jamie to program them, so.
The installs are about $600.
I don't care to pay the $1,200 to install 2 radios as long as I get 2 radios programmed and know that they belong to EMA or whoever. I just don't see investing the money and then something changing down the road. The install's not the issue, it's purchasing $2,000 worth of radios, and next year them saying, well, they're obsolete.
Well, I guess we would just have to go for the budget, wouldn't it?
I don't know, because it seems that the owners of the radios that y'all pulled out of the ambulance is the county, correct?
Correct, they're on my inventory.
So if they're on your inventory, is there an issue with audit to assign them out to Carter's Valley, which is not a government entity?
I would think we would be. So the ones that are assigned out there have been done by the commission on knowing these agencies are involved in this program and we're providing radios. So we would obviously probably need some kind of resolution or something, I would think, what you may. But I'd recommend if we do it, to do it equal for every department, even if we have to buy more devices.
Well, I mean, I feel like he's got a pretty good point. If it's an agency, Stanton Valley runs first response, right? Carter Valley runs first response.
The argument becomes, obviously you need that for patient needs, but if someone's trapped in a house fire, you also have the same need.
But they're here today asking for equipment
Yeah,
to provide their first
I'm
response.
asking for 3 or 4,000, not 3 or 4 million, because we know that other radios are a $3 or $4 million issue, not a.
The other departments have actively requested new radios because of aging equipment in the field through a deadline through the last 3 years.
Which we're attempting to address.
Correct, yes.
John, is Clinch Valley, are they first response yet?
Excuse me?
Is Clinch Valley Fire Department, are they first response yet?
I think they're taking classes, I'm not sure that they're set up yet. We were working with EMS, so, with Roger Lamb.
Yeah, well, that's not.
They're working towards that, yeah.
The paperwork is out, this is the certification part that we're waiting on.
So we'll have more agencies than 4, is that what you said, Mr. Tolan?
I believe we've got me, Stanley, Churchill, and Hawkins that are county agencies.
And then you'll add a couple more, because there's a couple more in the certification process, but even still, that's not 11.
And this would be more of a question than a statement, but I don't know if budget would be receptive to deploying 2 or 3 mobiles in each fire department and 2 or 3 portables before the big project.
I mean,
I don't even need car radios. If you'll just give me 2 handhelds, if we could miser them up somewhere, 2 handhelds would be perfect.
I don't think we have handhelds that aren't being used in inventory right now. They would be mobiles. That's all we've got.
Yeah, we don't have a supply just sitting back here.
Yeah. I figured you did.
Can I make a comment, Robbie? I talked to some of the departments, on scenes and stuff like that. I know Jamie sent out something, I guess, that when this budget committee, or the public safety sent it to budget with the numbers and stuff like that, and there was some issues once it got to budget. But what it sounds like is there needs to be something sent back out to the agencies again to respond back with what they need so you can get the number for budget.
And I believe we asked for that. We've asked for.
It was just the redundancy of if you had, I think the issue that we had, Jamie, and remind me if I'm wrong, that if Carter's Valley has 15 members and Rogersville has 17 members, but 5 of those members belong to both agencies, then do you need to give 17 radios and 15 radios, or do you need to assign them to the members? That's the issue that we had, because we didn't want to create double coverage and assign 2 radios for 1 member.
I think I asked for truck seats and vehicles on the mobile, and I thought that was more than reasonable myself.
No one's saying, I mean, no one's saying.
I was just saying, because I've heard some agencies ask for a number of radios that was.
Well, that's why the budget committee, we sent it back and said this needs to go back to every department to look and see, do you have, members that are responding to different agencies? We don't need to, like Jason said, we don't need to give one department 30 of them if 10 of their members are sitting on someone else's agency also.
When we deployed them in the rescue squad initially, when the first project rolled out, it was left up to the department head, and so that, we went through and made sure that people wasn't getting 4 radios, whatnot.
So we're waiting on the department heads from the fire department.
I don't know that they've been contacted now.
Can the public safety committee just ask that you try to get a better number together? I mean,
we could push it out. I think we're to the point that, I'm gonna need some feedback on somehow where we think the cap would be as well, if there is one.
I guess
That's all I have for that. Because we had requests from 12 to 39.
Well, I mean, point being, I guess, if you've got 11 DMR radios that are mobile radios that are sitting there that's not being used, and they could be used somewhere, is there a way to deploy them out so that they can be used? I mean, I would hate for them to sit on a shelf and not be put into service.
As long as we figure out the install. Wayne can echo this too. During a fire event, we'll be having horrible communications issues there, and a lot of times until someone gets there with a properly installed radio as well. And my department uses fire as much as we use digital, but your radio's got to be spot on.
Yes, I would think that somebody in the committee can make a motion to
The
deploy.
install is a big part of it.
I also don't want, because Jamie's office is responsible to manage those radios. My request, I guess, is if we have radios, whatever qualifying criteria he needs to get them out to agencies, that's fine. I mean, if we need a professional install, I get that. And they need to show, I guess, proof that they contracted or ask somebody to professionally install, whatever that looks like. But, I certainly don't want to step on Jamie, but I don't also, if we have radios that are sitting there not being used and we can deploy them out to agencies, why wouldn't we? So, and I know Jamie's the same way. If he can get something to an agency, he will. We just need to set out the pathway to do that.
So what do you need us to do with this committee?
What criteria what departments you want, and how many of those you want to go to each department?
Well, the department requesting is Carter Valley.
We've had more though. I mean, I can send out if anybody else
They're here today
is requesting.
requesting it in person.
The other.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
How many agencies right now are in the first response program?
There's 3 county, currently 2 county fire departments with a third possibility of Clinch Valley coming on. And then there's 2 rescue squads.
All right, and which of those do not have radios?
Right now, none of the fire departments technically has a DMR radio.
Okay, so we've got 2 county fire departments in Clinch Valley about to come on, so that's 3.
That would be in the first response.
That would be in the first response program.
Another thing we've discussed with these radios, and we've combated this in the sheriff's office this way too, is keeping 3 or 4 of those for new ambulances as they come into new vehicles on that side.
So if we issue one mobile unit to each first responder agency that doesn't have one, you're still gonna have extras.
Well, that was going to be my next thing. There's 3, and you've got 11 radios, so that'd be 2 apiece. That's 6, and that'll leave 5.
Jason, are you purchasing 5 ambulances in the near future?
Well, I don't know.
All right. So if we transfer some radios, some DMR radios, mobiles over to these first responder agencies, who retains ownership of them?
Oh, so far we have at the county. And the reasoning for that from committees past is if we ever do go to TAC and we have the trade-in value of those devices to put forward.
So is there a legal process that we have to go through to get those radios to them besides asking them to have them professionally installed?
That's all we did before is had a list of what departments they were going to and we did professional
So can
installation.
we just do it as a motion right now?
That's fine with me.
Mr. Chairman, I move that
Can we recommend that they use our radio vendor or we provide the spec?
I was gonna recommend that we use Jamie's advice for the install.
Mr. Chairman, I move that agencies that are part of the first responder program receive 2 mobile DMR radios from current surplus. How's that?
To be installed at
To
their
be,
expense,
to be installed at their expense.
using our recommended provider.
I made that motion right there.
Saying, hey, might not move, but your brain was.
Second by Commissioner Britton. Any further discussion on this?
Does that solve your problem, Mr. Toll?
Perfect.
Ms. Davis, will you roll call on that, please?
Robbie Palmer,
Yes.
Chad Britton,
Yes.
Larry Clontz,
Yes.
and Jason Roach.
Yes.
4 yes, motion carries.